Sunday, and Kate and I are going to Sterling to get some coffee, and then later on we're going to do the crosswords. So we made it to Newbray, and it's pretty fancy, we came for the bagels, but they don't carry bagels. They carry bagels at their other location called Pop Bagels, I think. So okay, Pop Bagels, but they're not open on Sunday. So we're with some croissants. Can't really see them there. I'll take a shot of it in a second. It looks pretty delicious. Portland-made store. Well, good morning, folks. It is Monday, and it hasn't been such an awesome Monday for me so far. As you may notice, the car is still in the garage, and that's because it won't start. So hopefully it won't take too long, but I don't know. Actually, let me preface. I don't really know much about cars. My initial gut reaction was that the battery is dead, but I know these things are kind of finicky, and there's lots of nuances to Mercedes-Benz. But I did end up getting a battery for it, and I'm gonna go down the route of trying to replace it this morning and get this thing out of here so that I can actually get some stuff done. So stick with me, we'll see how this goes. So first things first, we got to pop the hood. Alright, so this little hook that came out here, pull that little guy, lift it up. I already got the bike out of the way so it doesn't hit the hood. And this is kind of strange. There's a what appears to be a metal rod on top of my motor. Kind of looks like a fingerboard rail part. Not quite sure how that got there. Probably not good for it to be there. So first things first, remove any stray objects that may be on your motor. All right, here goes nothing. So there are 3 clips on the battery cover. First, remove those, and keep in your head to remove ground first, and then when you're putting it back together, put the positive side on first. So ground off first. Don't forget that, Rob. Oh, looks like there's a nice little air filter under there. Keeps stuff off your battery, I suppose. Alright, gonna move closer to this so you can see. Alright, so here's a closer look at the battery. So I want to get the ground part off first. So I need to find a ratchet that'll fit that. So be right back. Alright, so it looks like a 10 millimeter socket. Focus. There we go. 10 millimeter socket will fit that small nut there on the ground. So I'm going to just loosen that. Alright, so take this and separate that. Spread it apart so that it'll actually come off of there. Guys. Alright, so now the recommendation is if you have a cover on your positive side, just to go ahead and put that over there, cover it up so that you don't create any shorts. So, done. Now moving on to the positive side. All right, there we go. That is off of there. So now I have to get these nuts off that are holding the battery down. It's like a support that keeps the battery from moving around, and they're pretty far down in there. And I think there are two of them. There's one on the front and then there's one on the back side. So I'm gonna try to film this as best as possible, but it's gonna be a little tricky. All right, so I've concluded that the nuts inside of there are 13 millimeter. So I have a long socket wrench that I'll be sticking down in there and removing those things, hopefully. So I can't really film because I'm gonna have to use both hands, but I'll set the camera over so you can see at least how it's working out for me. It's pretty darn heavy. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. We have to remove this filter here. It's a filter tube of some sort. I don't really know the details behind that, but it has to be removed. Well, not the most elegant removal, but it's a man, those things are heavy. Alright, make sure positive's on the right side. Want to put the filter back in there with the air release piece. Alright, so that's good. And there we go. Sits down in there pretty good. And now for getting those nuts back on to the bracket holder down there. Alright, so now we take the ground off first. Now we want to put the positive back on. Oops, don't want to bend that. Yeah, so here we go. Alright, there we go. Alright, so that's a good sign. It actually started up. Cool. So I don't know. I'm probably gonna end up taking this thing by the dealership because I don't really trust my handiwork here. Just so that they can check it out. The bracket that I put in the bottom that holds the battery in is not in there well enough. It's not holding the battery down, so I'm gonna have to redo that a little bit. Maybe tighten it up or move it forward or something to put more pressure on the battery. But other than that, it was pretty finicky. I don't recommend doing this if you don't have to. So I just returned from the Mercedes dealership, and it's a good thing I went because I didn't exactly seat the battery properly. So apparently on the left side, if pointing this way, this side, there's a fixed piece or like a bracket that you slide the battery under, and I didn't slide it under correctly or at all because I didn't actually realize it was there. I didn't look when I had the battery out. But one of the service advisors there named Christopher was super helpful and actually grabbed some tools and got his hands dirty, and yeah, didn't even charge me anything, and he like seated it properly. And also the ground plug was like, I should have spread it apart a bit more instead of hammering it constantly, and I got it fitted on there a little better, so totally hooked me up. And I'm back. So I'm going to take a break for a moment and then maybe grab something to eat and then check out what's in these packages that I received. I guess it's been, yeah, a week ago. I don't even remember what I ordered at this point, so we'll see what's in there. Maybe it's something fun to mess around with. So actually, before I open the mail, going to install this recently acquired scrap wood to here as a shelf, another shelf, so I can hold stuff. So I have these dowels. I just need to cut it to size, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Alright, so last shelf, I promise. But I actually got this other scrap wood. It's a little bit wider shelf, and I cut 4 dowels, just like the others. I think I'm going to move this shelf up, and then I'm going to move this larger shelf to the bottom. Yeah, see how this goes. So I've decided to continue organizing, and I realized that like one thing that I need right now, and the only thing that's like kind of left on the workbench besides these screws here, is are the files. So I have a couple dowels, and I'm gonna take these nuts here, and I'm just going to screw holes all the way through both of these dowels, and yeah, the nuts are separators essentially, so that it'll leave some gap where I can just slide these in, and then I'm going to screw this into the back wall. Today's been kind of a bust. I was hoping to get a lot more done, fun stuff, but it ended up being that I finished organizing, which was good. So everything's put up now. I'm about to drive to Ace and return a few things that I didn't use, and maybe when I get back I'll be able to open that mail that I keep on mentioning. Yeah, at this point I don't know, because I have to go get Kate as well, so might not happen. We'll see. I came to meet Kate at Oyster Parks in the southeast, and we're gonna have dinner here. It shall be delicious. Keep it posted.